Welcome to the Real Estate Day. Restart. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. Today we have Kelly Mitchell, and let me start again. 1, 2, 3.
No worries. Take your time.
Welcome to the Real Estate Show, episode 24. Today we have Kelly Mitchell. Kelly's been named to the Inman's 100 most influential list for both 2013 and 14, and was named 8th in the social media segment of Swanepoel's 200 most powerful people in real estate. But today she's in Napa. What are you doing in Napa today?
Well, I left Hawaii about a year ago. So I was residing in Novato, which is North Bay, Marin County, and recently purchased a home in Napa. So that's the deal.
Oh, that sounds nice.
And Jonathan's going to take it away with it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Kelly, for coming on. We've been looking forward to this interview for the past couple of weeks. You've done a lot of podcasting in the real estate industry, and you spoke to a lot of people, haven't you, Kelly?
Oh, yes.
So we're coming to the end of a year that, to me, I don't know if it's been the same to you, that just seems to have flown by. It's just gone so quick, and we're getting close to the end of the year and the beginning of 2016. So I thought I would start this interview by asking you what you think some of the trends might be for the industry in 2016.
In 2016, so the first disclosure I want to say is there are a lot of other people smarter than I that I look to for information like this. So I'm going to give insights, but I'm also going to point to the places where I get those insights, because the whole reason that I started Agent Caffeine was I was tired of people keeping secrets about their success and how they were getting their information to do their jobs better. And so I am all about being an open book and sharing resources and strategies and things like that have worked for me. And really, I think when you're looking at this kind of information, you look at organizations like NAR, like Housing Wire, like economic indicator organizations like Moody's. I mean, those are the best resources for getting information on what's happening. And it really looks like, for 2016, the expansion of the sales in that market in that year are not going to go up that much. NAR's predicting 3% increase. And part of the reason for this is because we don't have inventory. And in particular, in these primary markets, a market like San Francisco or Los Angeles, for example, there's not enough inventory at affordable prices. I mean, you'll see a lot of, $8 and $9 and $22 million houses sitting out there languishing, but you're not seeing the affordability that our first-time home buyers need. And you're seeing this a lot. Like, I'm watching the market very closely in Napa and Sonoma because I've been shopping in those markets very recently. What you're finding now is you're finding the people that have the money are coming up to areas like, I don't know if I would really call them resort areas, but maybe they're tourist trafficked areas. So Sonoma is one of those markets. We're seeing people from San Francisco that have a lot of disposable income and not a lot to do with it. So they're buying property in houses that typically stay empty most of the year. So they've got a vacation home. Now that's a house that's out of the market. And this is happening quite a bit. So we're seeing consumers start to look at secondary markets as a way, and Reno would be a perfect example. Bill, you just moved there, would be a perfect example of a secondary market where the affordability is higher, the inventory is higher, but it still has a lot of those assets that some of the bigger cities have.
Yeah, Reno's an amazing place. I've always wanted to live here. I'm a native Californian. It's amazing. But let me tell you one thing, though, is we have the Tesla plant, and we have the world's largest industrial plant in Story County, just a few miles away. And it is huge, and it is bringing so many jobs that the values, I believe, are going to skyrocket here. And what you mentioned, my wife works for Chase as a broker, and they deal a lot around we're about 20 minutes from Truckee, and the lake's not far away. We have a lot of listings, and you just described those houses up and around the lake are all multi-million, and they're not occupied. They're owned by people over in the Bay Area.
We call them Googlers.
Yeah, Googlers, and they're not, and they're very expensive, and they're just sitting there, and maybe they use them a month of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still affordable stuff in, and I'm familiar with South Lake Tahoe because I've got a son who lives there. There's still stuff available that's affordable there, but that prime real estate is getting snapped up.
Right. The nice stuff. Yeah.
Yes, and we're looking at.
Beach is nice.
Go ahead.
Kings Beach has some affordability.
Got it.
Yeah. So another trend which you kind of dealt with some of your interviews that I've listened to is brokerages and the future of brokerages in the next couple of years. Can you give maybe some of your thoughts about, are regional brokerages sustainable? Have they got a future? And what kind of relationship is a broker going to have with their agents and their agents with brokerages? Got any insights around that, Kelly?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I'm probably one of the least popular communicators on this topic.
Well, you're very popular with me, Kelly.
Well, part of what I see is this. Brokerages have been operating with a 1980s mentality, and I'm using a blanket statement. I realize that not everybody is like this, but the majority have a 1980s mentality, or maybe even a 1970s. And part of that philosophy lies in, the churn and burn mentality with agents. Recruit as many as we can, hang on to the top producers, and let everybody else go their merry way. And this is not a sustainable business model. It's not a sustainable business model if you've not embraced technology 100% and are making your agents do the same thing. It's not a sustainable business model if you're not listening to what the consumer wants from a communication standpoint and doing things the way that you've always done them. So the wake-up call for brokerages, all brokerages, I think, that are still operating, using pen and paper in, 50 or 60% of their processes, is they need to wake up, or they're going to go the way of the travel agent. And there aren't a lot of travel agents anymore. They've been replaced with technology and with websites. Now we're in a situation where there's still a window of time where we have an opportunity to transform. And there are great companies out there that are providing tools on a brokerage level where you can buy tools that manage a transaction from start to finish, and from the standpoint of when somebody, buys their home from you, that you're in touch with them enough and you are aware of, you're not sending stupid drip campaigns. Oh my God, I'm so tired of those. They don't retain customers. And so the big trick of the game right now is, how do you get these buyers or the companies who have done a single transaction with you to come back and do another one? And unless you have a pulse on those consumers, and unless you're staying in touch with them, and you have a technological way of managing that relationship without relying on technology to communicate with them, then you have an opportunity. When you start looking at agents as entrepreneurs instead of, agents, because they're not, an hourly individual, these guys, and they're not just contractors. They literally own their own companies. And when we start hiring people who have, maybe they don't know how to sell real estate, but they know how to start businesses, or they have the discipline and the drive to start a company, those are the kinds of people that we want to look for. First, it's about attitude. And it's about creating a culture that people want to be a part of. It's no longer the hierarchy, top to bottom, the president of the United States down to, John Q. Public. It is a lateral formation of business, and it's team oriented. It's not, the, oh my God, the squire and the country bumpkin anymore. It's not sustainable.
So with that, we're going to go to a break.
So that's great stuff.
Okay, insert commercial for mail-right.com and netcasting101.com.
Oh, that's great stuff, Kenny. So I'd like to ask a couple quick follow-through questions. I just want to put this to you and get your response to it, and it's linked to what you just said. I kind of see the kind of modern brokerage really involved in marketing, online marketing and networking, guerrilla marketing and effective online marketing, and providing the kind of in-house services that their agent team needs. And also mentorship, real leadership. And I see too many kind of brokers kind of, I'm trying to put this diplomatically, kind of blame all their woes upon the agents and not really show the real kind of leadership that you would expect in the size of some of these brokerages. What's your response to some of that?
So my response to some of that is, I think, I've worked in organizations that have been really good at marketing and advertising and things like that. And that is awesome for the brand. It doesn't help the individual agent to the same degree that it could. I mean, throwing money at Yahoo and Google AdWords, it's like garbage in, garbage out. And the amount of leads that an agent has to work in order to close sales, when they're closing like 2 to 3%, maybe 5%, or 7% on the absolute high side, if they're really, really good, that stinks. That is horrible. Nobody in their right mind would chase that kind of, your quality of life is non-existent. So what the brokerages need to do is they need to be scrubbing these leads for the agents and making sure that these leads are worth the agent's time of picking up the phone. I think right now, just throwing money and throwing marketing dollars out there and giving Zillow your firstborn child is not going to help you make a lot of money. It just isn't. There are more effective ways to work it than throwing money at a marketing company that gives you a bunch of garbage. I had to say it.
Well, you're not mincing your words, but I knew you wouldn't. I'd like to put this last question of this section, and then we move on to something else. So what about if I make this statement? A decent agent should be a real people person, and they should be there building up their own network. People that trust them, like them, will refer to them, and that they should have their own farm, their own sphere. And should they really be concentrating a lot of their activity online and in person in building real relationships? And would that cut back so they get really when they do get a referral, or it's a quality one which they can really work on?
I think your ability, if you are strong on a social media channel or a platform, and you can't be strong on all of them, and that's where some people miss the boat. But if you know how to listen for the signs and how to build relationships, that is a great way to build business and to expand and create a larger sphere. What I do see is people often miss buy signs, or sometimes agents get hit in the face with an opportunity and they don't respond to it. So I'll give you an example. I've done 300 plus interviews on Agent Caffeine over 5 years. I've got a little visibility in the space. When I go onto my Facebook and I've got 4,000 friends, right? And maybe 1,000 followers. When I go onto Facebook and say, I'm leaving Hawaii and I'm moving to the Bay Area, that sounds like a buy sign to me, right?
You would have thought so.
Do you know how many responses I got?
The mind boggles.
Zero. In fact, Matthew, what is his name? His His name is escaping me, but he's actually on a circuit. He speaks internationally, and he points to this perfect example. We're not listening. We're so liking everybody's, stuff and like commenting and having deep discussions about why, something in the real estate space sucks in these private groups. It's like, stop spending your time in the private groups, get out there and mingle with the people that need your services and create relationships and, be amazing. Because I really think that a lot of agents are amazing. They have the capabilities of creating relationships. It's not about, being warm and friendly. That can help sometimes, but you have to be an astute business person, and you have to treat a customer's transaction like it's an investment, because it is. And I think when we're just like, I got into the business like this. Oh, well, I don't know what I want to do right now, so I'm going to get a license because, everybody has one. And how difficult can it be to sell a house? Well, it is pretty difficult. And I think when you're not approaching it from a business standpoint, understanding that this is a business venture and an investment, then it's the wrong approach. It's not about making friends so much as it's about giving people service that they need, being the honest individual. When you see them like a house and that house is falling off a mountain, you need to stop them from buying it. No, I'm sorry. I told so many clients this. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you buy that house. In fact, if you want to buy that house that's sliding down the hill, you're going to need to find another agent, because my reputation is too important to me. And your long-term financial situation that's what I'm here to support and help you sustain. So when we start considering ourselves as investment consultants versus salespeople, we are not salespeople. A realtor is not a salesperson. Houses don't sell themselves. A realtor doesn't sell a house. The buyer makes a decision that a home fits their needs, and then they're looking to you to, am I going to lose my butt on this, or am I going to be able to, provide an education for my child when he hits college? He may be a toddler now.
I think you've touched this, actually. I think you've expressed it very coherently, but I think you've been touching that quite a bit in your discussions on your own show. But I think you've explained that, because I think what you're trying to say is, you're not trying to become their best friend. No. What you're trying to become is an honest consultant,
trusted
reliable advisor, not some sleazy salesperson or some artificial making out you're going to be their friend for life.
Yes.
You're trying to provide a service which is ethical, efficient, and they wouldn't have any hesitation in recommending you because you did the right job.
Exactly. And that's such an important part of the real estate, process and making a career in it is doing a good job, being honest to a fault. And it may cost you some deals sometimes, but the long-term result of that is you get a reputation for this, this person isn't out to make a buck off me. What they want to do is help me make a good decision. And do I get more referrals that way? Absolutely.
Yeah, they want to make a good living, but they offer good service and they know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
With that, we're going to go to our last break. Second break, we come back, and it's your turn to tell us more about what your business is.
So I am making a segue. I am moving away from Agent Caffeine, which is an interesting transition. And I am doing womenonwine.tv. So you'll hear me talking a lot more about wine, because I believe that you need to follow your passion, and my passion is in wine. And also theWineSiren.com. So check me out there. It's more about winemakers and wine now.
Very good. Following up on one of those questions, now, you're licensed in Hawaii. Are you licensed in California also?
No.
So you're not licensed. So
no interest.
Sell your house in Hawaii?
What's that?
You had someone else market your home in Hawaii?
I did.
And then how did you pick an agent here in California to work with?
Let me tell you that. That's very interesting.
Mm.
So I had an acquaintance who actually visited me in Hawaii, and that was my first choice because we had a bit of a relationship, right? So I reached out to her and I said, I'm in Sonoma and I'm just visiting, but we're getting ready to look for a house. Do you want to, let's meet and let's talk about what I need and all that fun stuff. And she couldn't make it, not once, not twice, but 3 days. It just wasn't very interesting to her. And now I started as a renter, as most people do. And I think where realtors miss the boat is they ignore the renters because they're looking for that immediate paycheck. You build a stream of renters and you build a funnel of renters, they will come back to you and buy a house. So you think so many people are missing huge opportunities there. At any rate, on social media, I had been in touch and had a follower called the Wine Country Agent, and his name is Michael Ronnie. He was very low key, never in my face. Just once in a while, he'd tweet at me, I'd tweet back, and when I was ready, I was like, so I've got one person the person who I never was able to meet with. Like when I move into my new rental home and I take a beautiful picture of the inside at last Christmas, she's like, oh, so when can I come over to your house? Like, really? You couldn't meet me like how many months ago? And now you want to come into my house? And that just that doesn't feel good to me. So I knew I needed to change directions. I knew I was going to Wine Country. So I'm like, Wine Country Agent, that sounds, I'll meet with him and see what he's like. And he turned out to be a great guy. I just met his wife today. He's above and beyond. He bought me a bottle of wine that's not here, just things that he doesn't have to do. And he's not in your face. Nobody wants to be hounded. So he's worked on the relationship more than the sale. And that's what's made a huge difference.
Oh, that's great. Has he got a good tasting wine, though?
Oh, insanely good tasting wine.
Oh, well, he's got everything then, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
We live in Wine Country. We love it.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's absolutely
beautiful.
Fabulous.
Cliche, but it is a beautiful part of California.
Definitely.
I just like wine.
Hawaii's great, but I was there for almost 4 decades, and it can wear on you over time.
Let's maybe, I think we've given some good insights and opinions. Let's move on maybe to some of your recent interviews, because I have listened to a lot of your interviews.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
They are entertaining. I have learned a lot about. I've done a kind of beginner to intermediate rush course on real estate industry, Kelly, over the past 8 months. I from really practically knowing nothing, I think I've got a substantial amount of knowledge of the industry.
Well, you fit in with probably most of the real estate industry, because a lot of people they come in, they don't stay very long, and then they're gone. So it's not an easy industry.
No, so let's maybe talk about some of the interviews. Probably one of your most recent was Jeff O'Leary about video, and I think video is such a powerful thing, because you got such a powerful tool in probably your pocket now, your iPhone, your Android, and it's so much easier, having one of these powerful devices, getting it onto YouTube, and just the technology in general is so much easier to get quality video, to take it and utilize it. But it's still surprising how few agents really use it. We got any insight after that interview why that might be, or is that changing? Or
I think more agents are adopting it, but not enough. And I don't think they understand what they're losing when they don't adopt it. I mean, the first thing is when you take that first video, you're awkward. You don't like how your voice sounds. You're probably going, oh my God, look at that wrinkle, or look at that 5 pounds I put on. Exactly. And so people look at themselves and they're hypercritical. And the reality is when somebody else looks at you, they're intrigued. They want to learn a little bit more about who you are. And particularly if they're considering doing business with you, there's no better way to engage with somebody than to give them an idea of who you are. Now, I've done a few interviews. I'm a trained actress. I've done national speaking and things like that. But I'll tell you what, the first time I ever stood on stage, my knees were knocking so bad that I was rocking the podium. So the biggest advice I can give to agents is you need to get over the hump. You need to try it. You need to practice it and know that first video that you have, everybody has one. It's horrible, but every time you do it, it gets better and better and better. So you just have to press on.
Yeah, he had some great tips about, he utilizes his car and the car,
Not when he's driving, though.
No, not when he's driving. No, there are some that do that.
Yes, that's kind of scary.
I won't mention their names, but they're on YouTube. One of them I actually asked on the show, but she never came back, actually. Let's go quickly, because she probably knows who I'm talking about. So we better go off on something quickly. What about, I'm probably going to butcher his surname, Andrew Falatio, the Facebook.
Oh, Andrew Fogliato.
Fogliato.
Yes.
I apologise, Andrew.
Facebook marketing.
So I'm almost fanatical about, I feel Facebook is, the bee's knees, really, if you do it right and you understand it. And I'm passionate about Facebook advertisement and using your profile and organic. I'm powerful about utilising everything that Facebook offers. And I've become I've joined John Loomer's course over the past year, and I've just kind of thrown myself into it. And I think it's one of the most powerful, exciting mediums still in the area. So
the brilliant thing about Facebook marketing is that you can target, and you can target very specifically, and you can choose amounts to target. So I think that's the essence of the power of the advertising side of it. But you do have to pay really to target specifically, and you have to play around and see what works for you, because everybody's different. Your messages may be different. How you engage may be different. How you write your ads may be different. And when you first start, you need to set that budget very low, because you need to test things and see what works.
It's definitely an art, isn't it? I know we've tested it with open houses, around the open houses ahead of time. And I use Amazon S3 links and hook those in with them too. So it's definitely an art. It's hard to measure too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So I was going to do a plug for myself, but this is not the time.
Go ahead, Jonathan. We got a couple minutes left.
No, you should never talk to me again. Another one that I was quite impressed with recently, and I'm going to butcher a Christian name, and is it Rebecca
Radice?
It's Radice.
Yes.
Content targeting.
Absolutely.
This is another area where I think a lot of brokers, agents, the power of the blog, the power of producing local content, the power of producing content that has worth, still doesn't seem to have really. It's not. There's a few that understand, but there's a lot that don't, and it puzzles me why. Got any insights? And what did you gather from talking to her?
Well, Rebecca and I have many, many conversations, and have had in the past, about social media and content creation. And the content targeting really was, being able to create a piece of content and then modify that piece of content for various markets and various platforms. So, and change the message a little bit without starting from ground zero. So why are people not doing it? Maybe they like working harder. I don't know. If you've got content that you can repurpose and reuse in different ways and on different platforms, and massage it so it works, on different platforms, then why the heck not do it? But But I think the secret ingredient is coming with quality content up front, because if you have crap content, there's nothing to repurpose.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of some people in the social media kind of don't exactly appreciate everything I say, because I think you've got to be realistic here. I think you've got to repurpose other people's content. Also, get good quality content. Right. I think we've had a fantastic interview. So what I'd like to ask, so one last question. What, for the agent, not the total beginner, let's say they're in their first, second year, what, have you got any tips or any suggestion that could make a bit of a difference to that agent in their second year that's trying to build up their business?
I think it goes to, this is for any agent who is from 0 to 2 years in the business, is remember that this is a startup company. You are starting up your company. So it's like any startup, 80-hour work weeks, 7 days a week. You live, breathe, eat, and sleep it. And it takes you 3 to 5 years to really create momentum. So if you want to give up, or if you have a bad attitude, or if you think the sky is falling every time the interest rates shift, please get out of the business, because nobody needs that energy around them. However, if you have a can-do attitude and you know that your business doesn't rely 100% on interest rates, or the fact that you lost a client yesterday, that you know that there is more business out there, and you can press on, and you work the hours you need to, you work the open houses, and until you realize maybe open houses don't work for you, and you work another angle, but you try every angle possible: online leads, open houses, work the phones in the brokerage, call your sphere. And if you're not having a lot of success in presentations, please get out and practice on every family member and friend you have. Do all of your presentations on them. Don't ask them to buy a house from you. It's a waste of time. I mean, honestly, right? Until you've got enough time and experience, most people are not going to work with you. So you practice on your family, you practice on your friends, and then you take it to the prospect.
I think that's really fantastic advice, actually. Thank you. So what's the best ways for people to see you, to contact you, to get more Kelly, basically?
So they can follow me on Twitter at Kelly Mitchell. It's KELLY MITCHELL. They can follow at Agent Caff, or at Women on Wine TV.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much, Kelly. You've been a very gracious guest, and I think you've given some excellent insights and advice.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Bill. It was a pleasure to be here, and thank you, audience.
And our friends over at Chase are all going to get to see you tomorrow. Let's see this raw. The raw cut.